We'll be calling you a radical, so it finally came out. E News, which is the propaganda paid for you taxpayer mouthpiece for the nuclear energy crime syndicate. Not to be confused with ENE News. She tried so hard. God, she did great work. She's out of that old thing, and so it's out today. $6 billion in the infrastructure for the nuclear energy crime syndicate. Tick-tock, Diablo Canyon clock. This is an important historic video for our army because the contemporary sheep going, gone. None of these senators even read this bill. And I will say this, thank you to one politician, left or right. The rest of them just, it's political. People that didn't vote for it had nothing to do with this. Both teams are both pro-nuclear freaks. What do you expect? Biden was the vice president when the greatest crime in human history. Our hope was Trump. Trump stuck it in us and freaking twisted it. He stuck it in our back and broke it off. He ended up being the biggest pro-pork nuclear president in history. That's saying a lot. Even past Obama, who covered up Dumber Fukushima. Tell Biden, the trilogy. Biden, I always give him a chance. Boy, did Biden just stick it to us. So, as you know, Chu, who was also, during the Fukushima disaster, was secretary of, he was the DOE. What do you think that whole paper coming out of Stanford was recently? Perfect timing, right? So, here's what they say. They gave a statement. They gave a, on this infamous day, I just came from the hospital down there, me and my grandsons. I've been with my grandsons all day. 10 years ago right now, I was puking my guts out. I started the chemo for the first time, and boy, my body didn't like it. Anyway, long path, but I saw this come out, and I'm like, fuck. They said a statement, well, yeah, there's $6 billion in it, but they have to request for it, and they have to show a reason for it. Sheffield, Mothers for Nuclear, Chew, that paper that came out of Stanford and MIT. What do you think this is all about? It's propaganda to try to keep Diablo Canyon open. So, I talked to Finnegan today, I talked to several people on this anti-nuclear army today. I said, look, here's the facts. Of course, Eastern Europe, they're all nuclear nuts. But the EU and the taxonomy, which is a big deal, because that's going to be written into law. France thumbed their nose at it yesterday and said, we're going to build them. No, they're not. I'll tell you why France is not going to build another nuclear reactor. Because the consortium that was formed, the Net Zero Alliance, which is the real wealth, not the fake wealth, like, Gates, Bezos, and crew, or the Musk are the richest people. No, they're not. They're not even close to the richest people on Earth. It's on paper, this hyperinflated, pumped up, ridiculous stock. Tell Gates or Bezos or him to go sell even 35% of their stock. That stock will crash 90%. It's on paper. It's all bullshit. So the real wealth of the world, and their net zero, trillions of dollars have been dedicated to, not only these are the powers, there be not the fake, the Rothschild clan. I read it. They said, no nuclear. When I was in Vienna, Austria, and, I spoke at the SMR, the expert who is on the taxonomy for the EU, remember I videoed him speaking? He and I talked for a long time on this. He says, yeah, you're from Utah, huh? Yeah, I'm the only one fighting. He says, yeah. We're the only ones funding them here. Pretty amazing story. I tried. Out of the bone marrow transplant, cross-member growth, I've been battling them. With no money, full of cancer. It's outrageous. It's just me. It's a fairy tale. There are no such things. And they came right out and says, there'll be none. So there'll be no, the EU's done with nuclear energy. It's over. Which France has signed into the agreement with the EU on the taxonomy. If the taxonomy says no, what's France going to do? Break away from the EU? Let them try that one. Let them try that one. So, they're pissed. So he comes out, we're going to build a bunch. No, he's not. So, I want people to understand. The post-ignorance army and crew and the activists of the world, oh boy, did we chop them down. 104 nuclear reactors in the United States in 2012. Sending off rate was the first one we tipped over. Kevin Blanchett crew we tipped that domino over. We're at 68. Oh, you can look at all we shut down. 4, 8, 10. There was not. No, there was 104. We can do math. We know how many they were shut down. 38. Would have been a lot more, but Status King Cuomo in New York, about 7.6. He bailed out Fitzpatrick. He bailed Gianni. He bailed out 9 Mile Point, which is 9 Mile Island, 3 times worse than 3 Mile Island. Now think about what reactors closed down. Kevin Blanchard's top 5, top 10 nastiest nuclear reactors on Earth. Indian Point, number 1, San Onofre, gone, down. Number 2, Diablo Canyon was supposed to shut down in 2021. That was the announcement. Delayed 2022. Delayed again. TikTok. Most dangerous nuclear reactor on Earth, still active, is Diablo Canyon. Number 3, Oyster Creek. Done. Gone. Number 4, Indian Point. Done. Gone. And we've shut down all these nasty, Yankee over. Pilgrim, top 10. Gone. On and on. Cahoon. We go on and on and on and on and on. Shut down reactors. But states went. New York was the first. Ohio. That would have been 2 more shut down. But no, even after the bribes, they bail them out. I won't fuck your other sister. So them days are over. Us shutting down nuclear reactors at least for the next 5 years. So they got a lifeline for 5 years, which is the irony because Price Anderson comes up in 2025. What's that? This SMR sham is just that. They know they don't have to pay the money back. They know it. They know it's just a sham. They're never going to build one. Utah funding them. When's the FBI going to get involved? When's the FBI going to go and say, we've already paid Utahns out of their rate bill. You pay a light bill, you've paid it. Over $400 million, New Scale from Hell has ripped us off. Remember, it was going to be 12 reactors by 2021. No, it was going to be 24 by 2021. Then it was 12 reactors by 2023. Now they're saying 2030 down to 6. It's a sham. It's fraud. When's the FBI going to get involved? When the fuck? It's the greatest fraud in history. They're not building anything. It's just stealing the money, which is this is going to be happening. So in this bill, 6 more billion. They're just going to rip it off because the deal's 5 years. Oh, you have to show intent. They're going to fake it. What do you think Chu's letter was from, how's he in Stanford? Oh my God, and MIT. We know what they are. Teller's freaking, oh my God. Biden needs to fucking go. Trump, Biden, Obama, they're all the same. AOC is the only freaking prominent politician I saw who voted against this bill. The only prominent one. The right just voted anything against the left. They didn't vote against this for any right reasons, because you go back and turn the tables back on these other bailouts that were going on through the nuclear industry under the Trump administration. Same thing. All the Republicans voted for it. All the Democrats voted against it. You talk that because ignorant, selfish people will elect ignorant, selfish leaders. So that's why our tactical army. So us shutting down nuclear reactors is over for 5 years. Our only hope is fraud. Now, we have to expose. We have to have whistleblowers with inside. We need the FBI. We need their help. In Ohio, they bust him. Think about it. They bust him. Householder's headed to prison. He's the lead legislator. 4 of them are going down. One of them already blew his head off. In South Carolina, by the way, Trump refired up the Mox Fueled Fairy Tale and gave them billions. Vogel in Georgia, that nightmare that's been built for $29 billion, that's Trump that handed that down. So this is left, right. I love it. You're still fighting. Obama, Trump, Biden, they are the identical. Where's Bernie Sanders on this? Bernie said he was anti-nuclear. He voted for it. Then the other bill that's going through, I'm the one that exposed, I'm the one that read through the bill and actually exposed that it lowers the tax rate to 3%. And Bernie goes crazy on it later. That's the next bill, which if $6 billion. So this is a bill written, Schellenberg and those guys are dancing in the streets, mother thinking. So I'll be working heavily because it has to be California. This was Diablo Canyon's plan the whole time. I'm one of the lead guys that helped I'm the guy that kicked that over at San Onofre. Standing right there. It was in the bone marrow transplant center 10 years ago. They had the accident on January 30, 2012, the day I went into a coma in there. They leaked it to me because they knew what they're going to do. Put Kevin Blanchard in jail while he's fighting for he's dying in a bone marrow transplant. I leaked that. Where's Kamala Harris? Talk about MIA. Oh my God, is she MIA? Where the hell is she? She worked so hard on the Senate. So this is what we're down to this. She busted PV and Cherry went into their house. PV, he told me to go fuck myself in public hearing. Was full cancer. She raided his house. This is the public commission's chair. Caught him and Jerry Brown dead red chopping up money in Warsaw. Billions of dollars. They were cheating on the exchange. These bailouts are fraud. All of this is fraud. Status King Cuomo, 7.6, total fraud, Exelon. I mean, this is all the club. It's unbelievable. As I named them the Untouchables. You know the Untouchables, that's the Chicago, right? FBI. Here's your new Untouchables. This is our only hope now because we shut down a lot of reactors in the last decade. We kicked the shit out of them. But IAEA bailout, billions in subsidies. The Department of Energy subsidizes 13 energy. You take the other 12, times it by 12, you don't even get close to the Department of Nuclearism. The pork and the welfare that they get. Now they go house by house, state bailouts in Utah, state bailouts in Idaho, state bailouts, and they don't even have nuclear energy reactors, but they want to store the waste. They want to promote an SMR Easter Bunny fraud so they can just rip it off. Bill Gates, who sold the operating system. Warren Buffett, who sold our school business here. They're going to go to your local PTA and have a fucking bake sale. One word. You know, in Europe, I know him. He did the due diligence for the taxonomy, for the Net Zero Alliance. He wrote it. He did it. I know him personally. We've had long conversations, he and I. He called it the fairy tale, and he called Utah out by name. He called Wyoming he called Gates. He called Buffett out by Utah. I'm right here. I'm right here. I did all the dirty work. And I mean, shout out, why folk? What a compelling story. I have my life. I'll quote my cancer psychologist. And they're battling. I had 30,000 shares of Tesla stock I sold 10 years ago. I'd won all that money on Mind That Bird on the Derby. I invested it right. I'd short gold, silver. You watch me right here on YouTube. Go all in on Tesla. Go all in it. Which I did. Something happened on the way to that place. They threw a nuclear energy flag in my face. I got leukemia. Radical. I forked over $900,000 to get into that bone marrow transplant center. And within a year, I nearly starved to death. I had no money, no safety net, no nothing. No public assistance, no nothing. I don't know how I didn't starve to death. I nearly did. We need the FBI now. We shut down 40% of this country's freaking nuclear reactors. Well, over 30%. Would have been well over 40% if it wasn't the bailout in New York, bailout in Illinois, bailout in Connecticut. Okay. Holtec, they're already in Indian Point. We shut down Indian Point. We shut down Pilgrim. We fucking shut down fucking San Onofre. Oyster, I mean, fuck. These are nasty, nasty nuclear reactors. I mean, the worst of the worst. The only one of that top, my top 10. I mean, they're all gone except for Turkey Point, still operating. It's on my top 10 list, always has been, and Diablo Canyon. TikTok, the rest we got shut down. Oyster Creek, gone. 3 Mile Island, gone. You know, where's all this snow and rain? Flip the soup can. You know, we were talking today, and I says, I never missed that soup can one time. Not one time. Not one time. So in Europe, which they're done with nuclear. Asia's done. Even China's freaking backing out. But what do they have? You don't see that on the news. All you see is this propaganda everywhere. I never seen so much PR. And they told us they were going to do this. E&E News, NEI. I mean, these people are lunatic. It's fraud. NUCLEAR. Read my lips, FBI. NUCLEAR. I'm the guy that exposed this with that cancer, that the original funding on NUCLEAR came from Kenwood Financial. You have to have the private funding before you get the government grants. They knew it. Kenwood was a Ponzi scheme. Just like, why not put up a statue of Ted Bundy on I-15? I was full of cancer then, and I had the field. I daggered them on lead dog hedge. I said, there's no lead dog. It was fraud. They go down. Or we'd have had a nuclear reactor here in Utah on the Green River. California's our hope. California is our hope. Why do you think they're clinging on so hard and they're digging in so hard? Because the last reactor there, out of those reactors, Humboldt, Rancho, and Sacramento, San Onofre, I'm telling you, the shutdown of San Onofre is the greatest grassroots activism. I stood right there. Cubs, I announced to the world they were shutting down. Remember, me and my army, we're going to expose them. They're all going to prison on D-Day. We're going to hit the beach on D-Day. They announced on D-Day, we're done. Of course, they never finished the job. They should have all went to jail. That was Kamala Harris that did that. She raided their house. We had so much hope for her. And she ran for the United States Senate. And then they got a AG who just dropped the freaking ball. Did nothing. Did nothing. So, we need the FBI bad. NUCLEAR's a fraud. And I've proven that's a fraud. The original funding was a fraud. The whole thing's a fraud. I asked the AG of Utah at the Bear River Massacre, Rez, he says, I don't even know what one of these SMRs are. You play back the tape. I videoed it. I says, well, the rumor is that we call it the Reyes connection. You're related to Jose Reyes. I'm not related to him. And he turned around and come back and says, let me make it very clear, I'm not related to him. He sure made that clear. But he said he didn't know what an SMR. The governor of Utah, Cox, right there, told me that he didn't know what an SMR was. Then right after that, he signs a contract. Gates Terra is a sham. They all know this club. These people are involved in the Department of Energy. They know that whoever runs the Department of Energy doles out money. So you form a company. Gates has done it. Bezos has done it. Mason's done it. And you get, well, Gates just got another $80 million this year. Freaking, he got $100 million under the Trump administration. Buffett got $180 million out of the Buffett administration. So they just dole it out. Under Price Anderson, they don't have to play it back. And these are their friends that are doling it out. They know this. They know this game's been playing Price Anderson while you're busy war machining. They upped it in 2005 for another 20 years. So I'm going to call out everybody. I mean, this is both parties because they did it in 2018. They did it in 2017. They've done it again. Another $6 billion. They're going to try to keep Diablo Canyon. So I'm going to work hard in California. I mean, I'll be sending this to Gavin's office now. You know, and of course, like he's going to do anything. I mean, why did he not go to COP? I can tell you the real reason Gavin didn't go to COP, and I know. Because he knew it was a shakedown and sham, and he didn't want to get painted into the corner. He knew, which, Greta, say the F word, Greta. So one word in Asia, one word all over there. Let's flip the can in the rain. Let's flip my soup can in the rain. We still going? Oh yeah, baby. It's like Kevin Blanche. Alive and kicking. 10 years ago today, I was puking my guts out. That was a hard time, man. It's been a hard 10 years. Don't give up. Don't you dare miss again. We're talking about it today. Why I had cancer. I flipped this can online thousands of times. I never missed it one time. I just left my little step-granddaughter. You know, she's getting ready to finish up her crowns and chemo. And I remember when she got cancer, and I called her mom, went down there, and I'm like, no mistakes. No mistakes. You have to be the tiger mom. So, our only hope now, our days of shutting down nuclear reactors, and we got a lot of them shut down. Great work. That's over for 5 years. This pork's going to fly. And Diablo Canyon, they're clinging on to it because they know you're going to have a nuclear-free California. They know it's over for these. Another $6 billion, they just get free money. No accountability because the FBI, I guess, is in bed with them. So I call them the Untouchables. Now remember, the FBI took on the mob and took them down. The movie's The Untouchables. Nobody thought it could be done. Well, the new Untouchables, they're in Chicago again. Rahm Emanuel. They're in bed with the CIA. They're in bed with the politicians. They have all the lawyers. They have all the money because of Price Anderson. I mean, just loot. And these consortium, the DOE's just throwing money out to their friends. You know, it's never enough for these sickos. Gates and Bezos get more grants to build nuclear reactors. They're not building no freaking manufactured reactor plant in Wyoming, it's a fairy tale, it's a sham. SMR system means small modular reactor. By the way, the only ones I've ever tried are not small. Santa Susana at Rocketdyne blew up. You're still killing you in LA, in California. Idaho National Lab pulling people off the ceiling. How about the 8/8 disaster in Russia killed all the lead nuclear physicists? You know, so our Army, our only hope now for the next 5 years. Now, are they going to throw this money at Diablo? The governor's office has already come out and told me, no way. We don't care how much pork they say. Well, here you go. And by the way, they're not public utilities. Guess who owns these reactors? Biggest shareholders. You got it, Bill Gates. Warren Buffett. Now think about that. Fox in charge of chickens. And the DOE, which the DOE is the most corrupt thing in the world. Jennifer Granholm and Rick Perry, there's no difference. Holtec, well, they're already decommissioning Indian Point. And let's focus on that good stuff. Somebody would have told me even 10 years ago that we had Indian Point, which they pulled guns on me so many times up there. We had Oyster Creek. We had San Onofre. We had 3 Mile Island all shut down. We had Pilgrim shut down. I would say there ain't no way. We did it. That's grassroots activism that did that. The most dangerous nuclear reactor on the face of the earth, still going, is Diablo Canyon. You know why it's named Diablo? Because they had an earthquake and a tsunami there. It's called the Mother's Heart. So I'll be working hard. They're going to try. You know, that's what the whole letter that Chu had just recently wrote is saying we need to say, because they know that this is these are the very people that wrote this bill. They'll say, well, you have to show a need. Well, here's the need. Chu just wrote this letter. He was the Secretary of the Department of Energy. He had Jennifer Granholm. He had Rick Perry's job when Fukushima happened. In Europe, in Asia, whatever, which they're done, they just say, when you start arguing, they just look at you and say, Fukushima. Now here, what's the hallmarks of a third world country? What's the hallmarks? And who knew there was going to be a long video like this? I mean, we used to make fun of Mexico, the peso. We used to make fun of Argentina. We used to make all kinds of different countries, third world countries. Really out of control debt. Rigged elections. Bush didn't win. I mean, they jerry-rig all the districts. Corrupt politicians, corrupt courts. The Supreme Court's got 4 illegitimate Supreme Court justices on it. Hyperinflation. I mean, our currency is worthless. I mean, don't drink the fucking water. The empire's over. And who took it down? Gorbachev said, what took down the old Soviet Union? Which, the Ukraine. And by the way, Biden's kid, oh, he had a show. And Sugar Ray Leonard showed up to it. Make you sick. This is the fucking museum. If he's a fucking artist, what the fuck is Kevin Blanche? It's unbelievable. A cancer psychologist. We set lots of goals. 10-year goal. I'm off the treatment program now. Finally. I went off today. Like I had any money anyway. Fuck, wasn't doing anything for years because Mike Lee kicked me out of Medicaid. After I forked over $1 million to become impoverished. Kevin, all this incredible activism and all this hard work of yours, you're going to get one thing. You're not going to get any credit. You're not going to get any fame. You're not going to get any fortune. You're not going to get anything. My uncle, the neurosurgeon, was in China years ago, I believe 2013. He was asked, are you related to Kevin Blanche? We see your name. Yeah. He says, 200 young people stood up and cheered. He says, you're famous all over the world. And I says, yeah, poor and famous. This fight's not over. And now I'm healthy and I'm out of the woods, I think, which I'm sure. I mean, the 10 years, I made the 10-year mark. That's it. Watch me fight now. So my battle will be, Diablo Canyon was supposed to shut down this year. They delayed it. I knew this was the tactic. Now they're saying 2020. We get one earthquake, one tsunami, not just the core. Now remember, there's 40 years of spent fuel stacked up there in swimming pools. Where those swimming pools were never meant. They can't handle anything over a 7.3 earthquake. If we get a 7.4 or higher in that region, and we're so overdue, you're going to evacuate the, well, Los Angeles is over. You think Rocketdyne, I mean, it's over. Well, Fukushima should have been, it's over, but The dead tide pools should have been a freaking Nobel Prize for Kevin Blanch, my work there alone. The salmon work alone. How about the IEA, the Blanch box alone? I mean, I can go on and on and on and on and on and on. How about my Million Mass March, forming that in my ancestral court? My police, I mean, I'm the guy that invented that.